Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to welcome again Ron Zaleski. Thank you, Ron, for joining us. This is our second video.
Thank you for having me.
It's the 4th of July week, so I thought it would be great that we can start off speaking about, your second walk, and as well as the program, the program that you've taken it to the prison system, which I had the honor to go on one of your trips. But beforehand, obviously, I would like to encourage the listeners to listen to the first video so they can get a bigger idea of who you are and the program, the nonprofit organization, the Long Walk Home. And at the same time, so they can learn about the book, which I talked the Long Walk Home, which it was great. I read it and I highly recommend it. But with that said, Ron, if you can kindly, give us a little snippet about you, and then we'll start talking about the program.
Okay. Well, my background is I won the draft lottery, which they had back in the 69. So that's why I don't buy lottery tickets.
I love your humor.
And then I ended up going in the Marine Corps on the buddy plan with a friend of mine, and I don't believe in war. So that was a great thing. And then, I go in and they treated us well. I had orders to go to Vietnam. My orders got changed. I didn't go. But everybody I was supposed to go with got shot and 2 died. So I carried a lot of anger and guilt because I wasn't there to protect them. And would I have, could I have, should I have, all of those things. And because I was brought up my whole life to be loving and good, and that killing is a sin that you go to hell for. And I truly believe that. So I was prepared to go to prison or face a firing squad back then, because I didn't know if I had the courage not to kill another man. I was afraid, and I wanted to live, and I was afraid I would kill to do that. So that's why I carried so much guilt and anger. And when I got home, I was treated like a monster. And that didn't do much to help me. And that's why when you see Vietnam veterans, most of them are still angry because we're treated like monsters. And that doesn't go away. People say, oh, get over it. Well, if you're in your car driving your family, people get killed in car accidents, but if you get in an accident and everybody dies and you're the only person that lives, say, and it might be your fault, we'll never know. Get over it. People die. Just your family, that's the only way that they can relate. Because if I've learned that I don't know anything unless I've experienced it. So I don't know combat because I haven't experienced it, but I have experienced the loss and all the other things that go with it. And I've experienced being treated like a monster and called that. And even these young guys coming from this war, they were brought up the same way. And then they go and kill, and then they come home and they tell them, oh, it was about money and politics. What did you just do to that young person that was taught it was wrong his whole life, trained for 12 weeks, and then does it? What have you done to that person? You see them, the people you killed every day. You carry that for the rest of your life. You just don't get over it. It's part of you. And it's just like the first time you had ice cream. You're not the same person anymore, and you always remember that experience. So, post-traumatic stress can be a good thing or a bad thing, but it's part of our makeup. So, like I said, I was angry for a long time until I realized I'm the problem. I thought life was a spectator sport, that it didn't matter what I do, who cares, it doesn't matter, so what? But I realize everything matters. I care. and I can do something about it. I can either, we're all on the playing field, whether we do anything or not. And we can just stand there and be in the way of people trying to do something, or stand there and be in the way of anything at all and let things continue the way they are. That is unacceptable to me when I realize I'm the problem. I'm the problem. So people say, oh, you can't save everybody, you can. And well, if I do nothing, I know you're right. But if I do something, at least there's hope. And that's what keeps us going, is hope.
Absolutely.
So,
And
yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
and what did you do in between before you got into the nonprofit? Because eventually you decided to do that. That was
Oh,
some.
well, I used to have a scuba shop and a health club. I
Okay.
built my own little world. I didn't watch the news. I didn't deal with people. Well, I did deal with people, but on my terms. And I didn't wear shoes when I got out of the Marines in 72. Up until 2022, I started wearing shoes because I damaged my foot. Now I'm hybrid. I wear shoes sometimes. Now I don't.
Wow.
But yeah, so I had a scuba shop and a health club, and I thought, oh, the exercising helps keep me calm and everything. But it kept me calm until I got into a fight with somebody, which could be 5 minutes after I worked out. Somebody get me angry, and then I'd be fighting.
Mm,
So it didn't do anything. It didn't do enough because I hadn't changed my mind. I changed my body, but I didn't change my perception. And that's what we've created with the 10 challenges to service. It's a way to prevent suicide. It's a guided set of questions to help you shift your attitude. And we do it as a group, so you see different perspectives. We can all look at the same thing the same way and nothing changes. But when you just look over from here, it's like, oh my God, I never saw it from this angle. So that's what makes it so powerful, because we used to have a shelter in the Keys, but I enabled drunks. I
mm,
did. I gave them a break, but it didn't change their lives. We used to take them on trips to swim with dolphin. They
wow.
had a great time, but it didn't change their life. It changed it briefly for a moment where they had good time, but it didn't help them shift. This is the most powerful thing we've done, the most impactful, the most long-lasting thing that we do, and we've been improving it all along. And it's been incredible. You can see it when people change. You'll see the light go on in their eyes, or you'll see them do that. Huh. And then they got it because they made a shift. And a little shift changes the trajectory of your life,
Absolutely.
which is, it's awesome. People say, well, oh, the people you deal with weren't suicidal. Well, should I wait till they're suicidal when it's too difficult? It's like it's easier to prevent a woman from getting pregnant than it is to deal with her if she is pregnant.
Absolutely.
So, and it's the same with suicide. Why should I wait till you're on the ledge when it may be too late? You've gone down that rabbit hole and there's no coming back. But if I help you shift so that you never get to that ledge,
Hmm.
that is, to me, is the way to go.
Wow. Have you seen an improvement from the beginning of, of your military career to now, of how veterans and have been taken care of in that sense?
Well, well, the VA treats me like gold, so it's way different than when I first went in, because they it depended upon who you ran into back then in the
Yeah.
70s, how they treated you. And you still get some of that because you have civilians that don't understand. So they don't understand. So they treat you because, they saw a movie, or they have this thing, or that you're all dangerous. You all have post-traumatic stress. If you're not human, you don't have post-traumatic stress. And it becomes a disorder when we don't deal with it and we
Hmm.
don't correct it. And we're
Absolutely.
about that. So it's been different, but they say about the VA, if you've been in one VA, you've been in one VA. Because
I
they're
used to go
all a
with my
little
dad,
different.
so I think it was in the 90s, and it was pretty tough to during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but but I've heard it's gotten a bit better. So
Oh, yeah, no,
yeah.
I'm happy with it. And you know, and if people have trouble with it, with the VA, give us a call
Hmm.
because we have somebody that works in the VA that tells you who to go to and what to say. Because if you don't say the right thing to the right person,
Yeah.
you might get somebody that's just a bean counter or pencil pusher, and
Yep.
they don't care about you.
It's
This
about
guy
who you know.
cares. Yeah,
Yeah. It's incredible because that happens in pretty much in every aspect of life, I guess,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But the amazing thing is that you were able to get this program to the prison system. So how did that start? Was it something that you wanted to do? Was it where you approached?
Wasn't even on my radar.
Mhm.
I was minding my own business. I went and spoke to a Rotary club
Mhm.
because we were instrumental in saving the woman that set it up for us. We were instrumental in saving her nephew's life.
Wow.
So she invited us to speak. So I spoke. And after I spoke, this guy comes up to me and he says, would you mind speaking in prison? I said, no. He said, these guys know about you, but they don't know who you are. They saw you on TV
Wow.
and they said, if that guy can walk across the country barefoot, we can do something. And they started to walk in the prison to raise money for veterans.
Wow.
And it was all the veterans in the prison. And
Mm.
so I went, and it was funny because this is the first time. And I had two 26-year-olds that went with me that were on our team, and my girlfriend, Terry, and they were all afraid to go, like, oh, you know, they're killers, and oh, it's so
Uh,
evil and depressing. And I says, just go, just go. You'll see, it'll be okay.
mm,
You go there, and there's the towers and the barbed
yeah.
wire and the dogs and the gates and the whole nine
It's pretty
yards.
intimidating.
Yeah, just like in the movies.
Uh,
We go in, and I speak to 100 guys
mm,
that were never going to get out.
uh,
They're going to die there. And
I
some
know.
of them had already been in 40 years.
It- I
And,
I
and I,
don't.
I
It's
spoke to them and I said, some of you guys are freer than most of the people on the outside because you have taken responsibility for your actions.
my gosh,
So
that's
you're free.
powerful. That is so
Because on
powerful.
the because when I didn't take responsibility for my actions, I was in my own prison for 33 years. So I said, we're not monsters. We made mistakes and we can correct them.
Yes.
I got a standing ovation. They all came and shook my hand and hugged me. And I kidded around with them being a Marine. I had to make fun of the other guys, you know, which we did. I had a great time. Terry said to me after we got out,
Mm.
she said, I felt more love in that prison than I feel in the church that we go to.
Wow. Um,
So,
yeah,
and they didn't want our program there because it, politics or the work or whatever. But what happened, one of my volunteers, Joan Farrell, followed up on the women's prison. And she was relentless and got us into the women's prison.
I think I met her, right? The
Yeah, yeah,
she's
yeah.
she's tough lady.
Yes. Well,
It's
she's relentless, I'll tell you that.
yes, I
So,
love it. Yeah.
we go there, and it's our first time, and we're just dealing with 15 veterans in the women's prison. After our first day there was a drop in violence in the prison.
This is so powerful, Ron. I mean, I'm just speechless because the power of love, we were talking about it before we got in here. Just being there, even if it's just a few of us. I mean, please continue, but I'll jump in because I felt
Yeah,
it, you
yeah.
know.
Well, it was amazing, and you know, it's the prison isn't like in the movies. you know, the guards treat them poorly, to say
Yep,
the least.
I
The
heard.
majority of them, like 95% of them, come from a broken home, so they have no foundation. Our challenges helps give them the foundation, but it's how we do it is that we don't judge them, because when I hear their stories, I should be in prison. I was fortunate enough to not continue doing the same thing and get caught. They weren't. I was fortunate enough to have a family structure in place that would bail me out
Hmm.
if I got in trouble. They didn't have that. That the prison is their safety net. So
It's so
it,
complex.
yeah, so when we go there and we see them, when we look at them and we see them
Mhm.
and we look, they own this program. I said, look, you girls have helped us make this program better. You're the ones making this what it is. For them to have ownership for that and to make a difference and to care. We had one woman that was fighting in 6 fights a day.
I remember you told me
She
that.
spent a lot of time in solitary. She now works with the guards because she sees it differently. And she realizes that they're humans just like her. And if you're going to treat them bad, it just doesn't end. But when you act instead of react, when somebody comes at you and you act lovingly instead of reacting to, like, you hit me, I'm going to hit you, it changes everything. So what's happening now in the prison is it's basically a veteran-led program,
Mm,
because they're going to do the entire prison. That's almost 1,000 women. And we're
that's
working to
awesome.
we're working to give the program to the guards, which, because that's going to help change
Hmm.
everything.
I
And it'll
mean,
help change it for them, because these guys are miserable in there.
it's a chain reaction. I mean, from what you told
Yeah.
me, it was just like everybody's like exchanging misery,
Yeah.
you know. And with this program, you're bringing something that they have a meaning for, you know. I can
Yeah.
do this. I can actually change. I can change, help somebody else change, you know. And the complexity of, because obviously I've helped with the mentorship because I got involved on the outside, you know, with people, veterans that come out of the war, but to deal with them in another place situation, which is the prison system, there's another layers of complexity involved. Because when you know, I was there, you know, witnessing the challenges, the 10 steps that they were doing, which was
Hmm.
great that you gave um, ownership to some of them to be able to do this mentorship program. Unfortunately, they were not called mentors. They had to be called guides. Is that
Yeah,
correct,
but
right?
right now, you know what? They want us in there, so they're kind of cutting us some slack, but we have to be really careful, because the day they don't want us there, they can boot us out.
Yeah, you have to walk, it's walking on eggshells. Any
Yeah.
little thing, it's just wow. I mean, there's so many things that came up when I was there, and to witness you and Terry and the dynamics, you know, when briefly to give my view of being there, because at the beginning I'm like, yeah, I want to be there. I want to, you know, but then when I was in the process of getting in, meaning the background check, the you know, checking you physically, that was the most intimidating part, actually. And, you know, the outside. But when you, as soon as I went inside, I didn't feel anything at all in the sense of, you know, being afraid for my life or anything like that. You know, I felt the energy actually very accepting of us being there,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. But
They
this is
want
a
us
women's
there.
prison, huh?
Yeah, they want us there. They look forward to having us come. They want us to come more often. I don't have enough mentors yet to make that happen.
I would like to eventually join you more.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, you know my situation with my house, but as soon
yeah.
as I get that's what I would like to definitely do it again. It was life changing for me, perspective wise, and seeing things in a different lens with someone that's in prison. But as you said earlier on, sometimes we are more in prison than the people
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
in there.
You
You
know,
know,
and some people think, oh, you're wasting your time. These guys are going to die in prison. Well, one woman who I had talked to who was crying because her 15-year-old son called her and was talking suicide.
my gosh.
So after the program and we talked with her, she had a different conversation with him and prevented him from having suicide.
Oh my gosh.
But I can't imagine being in prison and having my child on the outside saying he's going to kill himself, and I can't do a thing about it. But luckily, she was able to make a phone call and have a different conversation with him and save his life.
That's those are the things that I think fill you up, because
Oh, yeah,
I can't
yeah,
imagine how much you have to put out emotionally, mentally, and even physically. But at least to see this coming back to you, I
yeah.
hope that fills you up to
No,
continue,
it does. I mean,
you
yeah.
know.
It's, I used to think it was a myth that you help people, without expectation, ultra. I'm like, yeah, I heard Christ did it, but I didn't believe it until I did it. When I did something because I didn't care if I got anything from
Mhm.
anybody, but I wanted to do it. It was an experience. You can't explain. I mean,
Yeah, you can't. You have to
you
be
couldn't
there.
explain it to me when I was a kid. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're really doing this, and you're not going to get anything out of it. You know?
I got so much out of it, Ron. I mean, and I don't want to get emotional because I am very emotional like you are. But to hear the story of these ladies, and I mean, I can feel energy. I can feel if somebody's has love, I can feel somebody has hatred. You sense these
Yeah,
things. But when I was there with these ladies that are going to be there, or that have been there for 20, 30 years, and to see them smile and to be able to turn around things, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is at a different level. you know
yeah,
the challenges that you put out, the answers were slightly different, you know because for what I'm grateful for is totally different from
oh
what
yeah,
somebody's is being grateful for in prison.
yeah,
To either not have to be bullied or not have to go into solitary confinement, or I mean, these are the things that probably, not probably, a lot of them had voiced out,
yeah, yeah,
grateful for this. I'm grateful that I can at least see the sun and go out, that I have food, I have
yeah,
shelter. But it is mind blowing,
yeah, yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah, and it's well, you have to go to experience it, like I said. I mean, look,
Yeah.
the first time I went to death row, I was so disorientated and so like crushed just to think of we know you're going to die in here, but they hold out hope even there on death row.
Yeah.
Because why go on?
Yeah.
Why go on if you're never going to get out of here?
Mm.
So it's just the hope and just I think it's part of being human is,
Yeah.
not to give up. And what blows my mind
Mhm.
is we're in prison talking to them and they say, oh, I can't do that. I'll go to jail. And I'm thinking, you're already in jail. What do you mean you're going to jail? Oh, if I do that, I'm going to go to solitary confinement for 6 months. If I say I'm thinking about
Oh gosh,
suicide, they're going to lock me up for 6 months.
I can't believe that
Yeah,
the ladies were telling me that they can't say that,
yeah,
because they would go, and how can you express yourself? I mean, you cannot, you have to be
yeah.
careful what you say and do, because anybody can just trigger that and put it against you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh
Their
my
biggest
gosh.
commodity in prison is trust. That's the most valuable commodity there is,
Oh,
trust. Having somebody have your back.
yeah.
It's just yeah, it's
Yeah.
but it's been really good. And we
Yeah.
once we get more I'm working this big plan to get more mentors so that we can reach more people and all over the place. It's neat. We create mentors here on the outside, and then we can help them with the inside.
Yeah.
It's because I don't know anybody that doesn't need help. I mean, I even heard that Christ prayed for help once. So,
Oh, everybody has something, that has to
yeah,
work on, you know.
yeah,
But regarding the program, um, like I said to you before, when it was three of us, right, that went and partook of
yeah.
the
Hmm.
program. The Just by looking at them and seeing how they were positively shifting, you know, there were some that were already doing it, some were new, and just the conversations that as the challenges, challenge one, two, and three, we were going into it. I just can see the change, and at the same time, they were changing me at some point to see in a perspective wise, to see things, So it's like you have to be as well open-minded. You can't be just like fixated in your own perspective because when you get there, it just totally, like I said, it blows your mind,
Yeah,
to the level of which what they're going through,
yeah. Because
you
when
know.
you're open like that, you give them permission to be open. I mean, I gratitude is the first one. And
Mm-hmm.
I learned something this last trip I was there about gratitude that I didn't realize before.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew my mind because I've been doing this for years, and I do them every time when I do them with other people. So when you come up with a realization, you think, oh, I fixed this, but it goes deeper and deeper and
Yeah.
deeper,
That's
which is
that's true.
it's amazing. That's why with the questions, because you think you've dealt with something. Oh, you've dealt with it on the surface, but no, you
Mhm.
haven't really dealt with this yet.
Just when you think, then something else is coming
Yeah,
out of the hat. You're like, what
yeah,
is
yeah.
that?
Yeah, that's that string.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, like I said, not only you're taking the program to prison, but there were veterans in prison. So the question that that is for me kind of perplexing is how did these vets, you know, get into prison? I assume there's other complexities involved.
Well, like I had said before, the majority of them come from a broken home. The majority of them, drugs and alcohol were involved. So, and then also you train a guy, like in the military, we're trained to react or act with extreme prejudice.
Wow.
So you come home, some drunk driver hits your kid and kills your kid, or some guy does something to one of your kids, drunk or not, you go and annihilate the guy because that's what you were taught and you just
It's
slipped.
mind-boggling.
And then our society created this monster. Now we put him in a cage for the rest of his life to make it go away instead of really dealing with this issue. Okay, let's help these kids come back. Let's help them shift their perception because you're not warriors now. Now's the time to become leaders. This is how we do it. This is what we did. To me, war is stupid.
I know.
When we say it's evil, we make it romantic. It's not romantic. It's stupidity. I mean, if we're the smartest being on this planet, which sometimes I have my doubts, and we can't figure a way to be nice, we don't kill people in one another in a divorce.
Yeah.
That's not what we do. So why can't we do this with others? I mean, it's fear. Fear spawns all of this stuff. I don't care what you boil it down to. any of the things that we call evil,
Yeah.
the basic root is fear. I fear I'm not getting mine. I fear I'm not going to be able to do this. I fear, it's all fear. It's
Yeah.
got nothing to do with anything else. And, it's either fear or love. If you love somebody and you're fearless, why would you ever attack anybody?
Yes.
People say they believe in God. I say, no, you don't. You believe there is a God. If you believed in him, you wouldn't do this stuff. And myself included.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
said, I believed in God. Yeah, really? Couldn't prove it by the way I acted. If I really believed in him, what is there to fear?
Yeah.
So,
It's just so deep because, not only, like you said, these women and men have an issue even prior to going to training to become a, military, and then they come back and it's another layer of traumas,
yep,
and they have to deal with that. And then we have this system which obviously, as you know, we discussed how corrupt and how, I mean, it's not meant, it's a one size fits all system.
yep,
And
yeah,
then within that, you have other issues going on of other complexities for other human beings that are working in the system.
yeah,
So it's just so it's so complex. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I don't know if it's that complex. It's, like, look, you're afraid of losing your job. So you go along so you don't lose your job because you have a family you want to take care of. You make a stand, you lose your job. I mean, I get it. You're working in a factory making bombs. You don't want to lose your job. You know, so it takes a shift of all of us because we don't have a law coming out of the rain. We just do it. We just don't go out there in the rain.
Yeah.
So it has to be like that. But the problem is money and power and fear and I don't get into that stuff. I just
Yeah.
know that I can make a difference
Hmm.
and I'm going to do something. And people say I'm crazy. I'm like, so what? That's fine. You're entitled to believe what you believe, and well, maybe I am. But
No.
to me, it's crazier to do nothing.
And it's power. Love is powerful. Love and compassion is powerful. It changes people. It changes, like you said, people that you never thought would just switch, you know,
Yeah,
and that is a ripple effect. And regardless, obviously, like you said, complexity or not, it will shift certain things. Just touching the heart of it, and whoever it is, can change the outcome of that person's
yeah,
circumstance.
yeah. And that's
So,
part
yeah,
of why I'm going to walk again.
thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, because the first time I walked, my first two walks, I created awareness.
Hmm.
We're all aware of this. We all know we got a problem. Now's the time to do something. It's like reading a book about self-help. You can read a million of them. There's a
Hmm.
day where you got to finally do something. We can't, the snowball is getting bigger if we don't fix it.
Yeah.
So on this walk, I'm going to be wearing a sandwich sign again. On one side, it's going to say, help us. Before I said, 22 vets a day take their lives. Well, we all know that. So what? So big deal. Now I'm saying, help us save 22 vets a day. Okay, it's a call to action. And on the other side of my sign will be the name of a soldier that took his life and lost the war when he got home. Because a lot of them don't get the respect. Oh, he was a coward. Oh, he did, you know, he didn't serve, whatever their issue is. This guy fought the war, but he brought it home and he lost it home. He still died in combat as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so to me, they have to be honored and respected. So what we're doing is we want people to send in the name, then go to our website, send in the name and the story of a person that had lost his life to suicide so we can carry it. I want them to join me and walk.
When is it?
And they can walk for a mile or 2 miles, whatever
Mhm.
they want to make this a movement. So it's just not one lone lunatic out there walking. It's a movement where a lot of people get behind this and do it and make a statement.
Mm,
And I'm starting in Key West on 9/11,
okay.
and then I'll be walking to San Diego, California.
Wow.
And I'm going to speak as often as I can along the way, talk with people as I walk with them, enroll people into the challenges so that they can be part of the solution, or inspire them to do whatever it is they do that they feel is the best way. Because you know what? My way is not the only way. It's
Mhm.
just the way that works best for me. It's the way I'm passionate about. You
Mm.
may be passionate about making potholders, but if you do that with another human being, because you're sharing the most precious thing with you, your time and your company, that says it all. Because it doesn't matter what it is. My book is just a guided step to ask questions. You can do that when you make potholders. I mean, when you were a kid and you made cookies with your grandmother, that was like heaven because she shared that love with you.
Mhm.
This is just a guided way that we do it to help people shift. But you know, whatever it is your passion, do it. Don't wait till you're on your deathbed and say, "Oh, I should have done that," or "I could have done that." Well, it's a little late.
Yeah.
Today's all you got. Today's all I got. I don't
Wow.
know what's going to happen tonight. I don't know the next second. You know, we, we fall into that trap like, oh, well, I got time. How do you know? There might be a bumper with your name on it somewhere. You're going to get hit walking across the street. You don't know. Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ron. I really admire you for what you're doing, and I consider you, a good friend and even a
Thank you.
mentor to me.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and post beneath below the video. I'll put your links and how they can reach you, and so at least you can share and keep, um, moving it forward so people can know about the walk and can know about the program and can be part of it if they wish, as a
Yeah.
mentor, volunteer, or both. Any, whatever you can do counts.
Yeah. Everything counts.
Everything
Everything has
counts.
an impact.
Yeah.
Everything has an
There's
impact.
something that you said that I don't know if you had somebody mention it to you. You said that when you ever see a veteran, instead of thanking them, you
Yeah.
mentioned it's better to not only thank them, but ask them what I can do for you, right?
Yeah. And also what I learned what a guy taught me, because sometimes I would get angry when people say thank you because I didn't feel they were sincere or I didn't say it the way I wanted. What a guy told me, he said, when they say thank you for your service, I say you were worth it.
Mm,
And then that takes it off of me that I don't have to judge or try to think what you're thinking, whatever,
mm,
I get out of that trap and I did it for you. I did it for you. And what they do with that, it's up to them. It's not
yeah,
on me what they should do with that.
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
as a volunteer, as a mentor, I would encourage people to say, from my end, what can we do for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you so much. And before we end, is there anything else, Ron, that you would like to add to this?
Well, we're looking at doing more events that are fun
Mm,
because I know that I focus so much on just the challenges, but that's why we did the whitewater rafting. And we're looking to do something like that on a steady basis where we have fun and throw in the challenges so that, not only do you have fun, but you get some tools out of it, which to me is important because fun is great. I love fun, but if it's a one-time thing, then you always gotta have that.
mhm.
It's like, you can either go and learn to meditate, or you can do drugs every day. I think it's better to do meditation if you don't have the money to buy drugs.
Meditation is amazing, as you know.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Now, this program, I know it's based in Florida. Is there other pilot programs in the United States?
Well, we have mentors all over the place,
Mhm.
but they do it online, and I'm working to have a more in-depth program to learn to teach people how to lead groups so that
Mhm.
they can do it in other states and just do it, you know, just do it like on their own in a way. But I realized after doing the prison that we have to teach, it's more effective and you become a better mentor if you have more tools and more training and a more depth of why we do the challenges that
Mhm.
way and how to lead a group and and that's a big thing. And I just, when you do something so long, you think everybody can do it. No, not everybody can do it.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a one size fits all. Everybody's in a different
Yeah,
stage. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Ron, it was great having you and speaking to you again. I
Well,
look
thank
forward
you.
to hearing more about the walk and see how much I can partake of that. And happy 4th of July.
Well, thank you very much. Same to you.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, Ron.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Okay. Bye now.